Sharingan Bank. Obito maintained a private reserve of Sharingan eyes, hidden from the world and accessible only to him. These eyes were collected during and after the Uchiha Massacre, most likely extracted from the bodies of the clan's elite members. Stored within his Kamui dimension, this gruesome stockpile served as a ready supply for future use, particularly for forbidden techniques like Izanagi. Izanagi allows the user to alter reality, escaping death, or reversing fatal outcomes. Its cost, however, is the permanent loss of the eye that casts it. For most Uchiha, this makes the jutsu a last resort. For Obito, it was a calculated risk with minimal downside. After using Izanagi to survive Konan's 600 billion explosive tags, Obito immediately replaced the sacrificed eye with another from his collection, Shisuis Eye. Among the many Sharingan users in Naruto's history, Shisui Uchiha possessed one of the most dangerous abilities, Uchia Massacre. This Genjutsu allows the user to control a target's mind without them realizing it, making it ideal for political manipulation and subterfuge. Obito recognized the strategic value of this power and sought to obtain Shisui's eye for his arsenal. By the time Obito attempted to retrieve the eye, it had already been stolen by Danzo Shimura. Danzo used it to influence political decisions behind the scenes and eventually implanted it into his right eye socket. During his final battle with Sasuke, Danzo destroyed the eye before death, preventing it from falling into Obito's hands. This move ensured that Uchia Massacre would not be weaponized again, at least not by Obito.
Some of the names might surprise you. Even longtime Naruto fans won't see them coming. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the hidden world of Genjutsu, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring you more sharp analysis and uncover the secrets even the data books don't fully explain. Now,
imperfect Jinchuriki. Obito's transformation into the Ten-Tails Jinchuriki granted him immense power, but his control over the beast was far from complete. In contrast to Naruto's eventual perfect synchronization with Kurama, Obito's bond with the Ten-Tails remained unstable. The beast resisted his commands, and its chakra threatened to tear his body apart. His temporary mastery was achieved through a combination of Hashirama's regenerative cells and the stabilizing power of the Rinnegan. These elements prevented immediate rejection, but could not create full harmony between host and beast. Chapter 637 of the manga illustrates how Obito is nearly overwhelmed by the sheer volume of chakra surging through him. His body distorts and mutates, requiring constant regulation to prevent collapse. This weakness exposed a flaw in Obito's strategy. His reliance on artificial enhancements provided short-term control, but not true compatibility. The transformation amplified his power to divine levels, but left critical vulnerabilities beneath the surface. In battle, this made him both unstoppable and unstable. Mangekyo Sharingan. Obito's use of Kamui presents one of the most unusual anomalies in the entire Uchiha lineage. Most Mangekyo Sharingan users suffer gradual blindness the more they use their ocular powers. Itachi Uchiha and Sasuke Uchiha both experienced visual deterioration as a direct result of their Mangekyo techniques. Even Kakashi, who wielded Obito's eye temporarily, suffered from significant strain. Yet Obito, the original owner, activates Kamui repeatedly without any clear sign of side effects. This contradiction has led many to speculate that the implantation of Hashirama's cells into Obito's body might be the reason. Hashirama's chakra grants enhanced vitality and regeneration. With part of his body rebuilt using Senju DNA, Obito's ocular system may have been stabilized enough to avoid typical drawbacks. Another possible explanation lies in how Obito uses Kamui. Instead of techniques that inflict massive outward strain like Amaterasu or Tsukuyomi, Kamui manipulates space-time in a fluid, internalized manner. This may distribute chakra output differently. Despite these theories, the manga never confirms why Obito avoids blindness. This omission creates a persistent plot inconsistency. In terms of combat, Kamui gives Obito intangibility for up to 5 minutes and the ability to teleport parts of his body or his entire form across dimensions. He can also send others into the Kamui space or travel between locations instantly. However, he only has access to his right eye, which limits Kamui's full potential. When paired with Kakashi during the Fourth War, the full power of both eyes becomes apparent. Alone, Obito still remains highly dangerous, but not unstoppable. Early appearances. Obito was introduced long before the audience learns who he truly is. In Chapter 16 of the original Naruto manga, a photo of Team Minato appears on Kakashi's desk. This quiet background detail shows a young boy who would later be revealed as Obito. In Chapter 122, during a flashback from the third Hokage, Obito again appears alongside Rin and Kakashi. These early glimpses serve as breadcrumbs scattered across the story's foundation. Interestingly, Obito's design is slightly inconsistent between these cameos. His hairstyle and facial features vary, which suggests two possibilities. One, Masashi Kishimoto may have adjusted the design later as the story evolved. Two, the changes were intentional to create subtle ambiguity around his identity. This approach aligns with the layered mystery surrounding Tobi's character. For readers revisiting the manga, these cameos offer hidden significance. Databook errors. The fourth Naruto databook, which compiles character stats and information, fails to mention several of Obito's most important abilities. Notably, it omits any reference to his use of yin-yang release and sage jutsu. This is especially puzzling because Obito, as the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, clearly demonstrates mastery over these advanced techniques in the manga. Yin-yang release allows the user to create truth-seeking orbs, black spheres that nullify ninjutsu and reshape reality. These orbs are shown during Obito's final transformation. Additionally, his control over nature energy while hosting the Ten Tails aligns with the attributes of Sage Jutsu. He becomes immune to most forms of attack and capable of warping the battlefield at will. These feats are consistent with 6 Paths level powers. 4 Kekkei Genkai. Obito is one of the only characters in the Naruto universe to possess 4 distinct Kekkei Genkai. Each bloodline ability enhances his power, but the combination is what sets him apart from even the most elite shinobi. His journey begins with the Uchiha clan's Sharingan, which evolves into the Mangekyo Sharingan. This grants him Kamui, a unique space-time technique that bypasses conventional combat mechanics. The Mangekyo alone already places him in the upper tier of combatants. The second Kekkei Genkai comes from Hashirama Senju cells, which are used to reconstruct Obito's damaged body. These cells grant him access to wood release, a nature transformation previously exclusive to the first Hokage. While Obito does not use wood style as often as Yamato or Hashirama, its presence strengthens his regenerative abilities and stabilizes his chakra network. It also reinforces his immunity to the typical drawbacks of Mangekyo usage. The third Kekkei Genkai enters the picture when Obito claims Nagato's Rinnegan. With this eye, he unlocks the 6 Paths techniques and gains control over life, death, and universal forces. The Rinnegan grants him access to abilities like the Outer Path and the demonic statue of the Outer Path, which are key elements in the Eye of the Moon plan. Though he only uses one Rinnegan, the increase in his overall threat level is exponential. The fourth Kekkei Genkai is rarely discussed directly, but is implied through his use of yin-yang release as the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. This hybrid transformation fuses spiritual and physical energy, allowing him to reshape matter and produce truth-seeking orbs. While not a clan-based bloodline, Yin-Yang release behaves as a functional Kekkei Genkai due to its exclusivity and power scaling. Mission record. Obito's official mission history as a Leaf Ninja totals 135 missions. These include 86 D rank, 24 C rank, 24 B rank, and a single A rank assignment. All of these were completed before the age of 13, before his presumed death during the Third Shinobi World War. While his early characterization paints him as clumsy and immature, this record tells a different story. It reveals consistent participation in both routine and combat-based operations. The absence of S-rank missions is expected for a ninja of his age. However, the spread of missions shows progression through increasing levels of difficulty. D-rank missions usually involve logistical support or domestic tasks. C and B-rank assignments often include escort duties and engagements with enemy shinobi. Completing 24 B-rank missions before adolescence places Obito in an advanced tier among young Genin and Chunin. Personal data. Obito's personal information, even in official sources, is filled with inconsistencies. His birthday is recorded as February 10th, placing him under the Aquarius zodiac. He is said to have died at age 31. However, basic physical details such as height and weight vary depending on the source. The third databook lists his height as 5'7", the fourth as 5'10", while Studio Pierrot assigns him a height of 5'9". His weight is similarly inconsistent, fluctuating between 123 and 154 pounds. His blood type, listed as O, is among the few consistent elements. Still, this detail carries little narrative importance compared to the broader issue of identity fluidity. Prodigy by circumstance. Obito achieved notable milestones at a young age, surpassing what is normally expected of a shinobi from a support role. He became a genin at 9 years old and a chunin by 11. This alone places him ahead of many peers in the village. However, his true turning point came at age 14, when he infiltrated the Hidden Leaf, extracted the Nine Tails, and nearly destroyed the entire village. This operation was executed solo and resulted in the death of the fourth Hokage and his wife. While Obito failed to eliminate Naruto, the strategic precision of the attack showed advanced planning and control. Following this, Obito continued to operate behind the scenes, defeating S-rank shinobi like Konan and manipulating the Akatsuki into executing the Eye of the Moon plan. Uchia Massacre. Obito's secret alliance with Itachi Uchiha was a turning point in Hidden Leaf history. At the time, tensions between the Uchiha clan and Konoha leadership had reached a breaking point. The clan, placed under surveillance and pushed to the village's outskirts, was preparing for rebellion. Sensing an imminent coup, Itachi approached Obito with an alternative, a massacre that would end the uprising before it began. In exchange for sparing his younger brother Sasuke, Obito agreed. Under the identity of Madara, he used this opportunity not just to aid Itachi's plan, but to advance his own. During the attack, Obito focused on eliminating the Uchiha police force and collecting Sharingan eyes. He left behind no witnesses and ensured the erasure of most of the clan's combat power. Posing as Madara also allowed him to deceive Itachi into thinking this was a temporary alliance built on mutual benefit, when in fact, Obito had larger ambitions. Constructed persona. The persona of Tobi was more than a cover. It was a fully designed psychological mask. Data Book 4 confirms that Tobi's body was composed partly from white Zetsu material. This allowed Obito to use organic camouflage, giving his body enhanced durability and flexibility. The masks he wore, also made from Zetsu biomass,
became symbols of his evolving identity. Tobi's personality is drastically different from Obito's true self. He adopts a clumsy, childlike behavior marked by erratic speech and exaggerated movements. This performance creates the illusion of harmlessness, allowing him to infiltrate Akatsuki without suspicion. Even powerful members like Deidara and Sasori underestimate him due to this act. The contrast between Tobi and Obito creates a useful dichotomy. While Obito is methodical, silent, and driven by ideology, Tobi is erratic and superficial. This dual identity enables him to control information and remain hidden in plain sight. The Tobi mask isn't just literal, it's psychological. By hiding behind absurdity, Obito conceals his real motives, delays discovery, and steers Akatsuki toward his own agenda without exposing his connection to Madara. Evolution of masks. Obito's masks change over time, each corresponding to a different phase in his development. The first major mask, the one used during the Ninetales attack, is plain orange with a central swirl. This early version corresponds to the beginning of his deception campaign. It represents chaos, misdirection, and the start of his detachment from his former identity. As his role in Akatsuki expands, Obito upgrades to a new spiral mask with a sharper design. This iteration emphasizes symmetry and control. Its design still reflects Kamui's vortex, but in a more focused structure. At this stage, Obito is no longer hiding behind a persona. He is beginning to direct events with precision. The mask signals a transition from chaotic vengeance to calculated strategy. The final and most significant mask appears during the Fourth Shinobi World War. This white mask features a ripple-like design with 3 tomoe, referencing both the Rinnegan and the infinite Tsukuyomi. Its pale color and symmetrical form reflect his complete shift into a would-be divine figure. The tomoe suggest control, surveillance, and unification, all core themes in his endgame. Genjutsu parallel. In one of the Naruto movies, Obito uses a genjutsu technique that mimics Itachi's Tsukuyomi. This illusion traps Naruto and Sakura in a reality where their personalities are inverted. While not part of the main storyline, the scene highlights Obito's genjutsu proficiency and his psychological approach to warfare. The method of execution relies on altering perception rather than brute force. This genjutsu diverges from Tsukuyomi in mechanics, but shares the core theme of mental imprisonment. Rather than overwhelming the target with torture or time dilation, Obito crafts an alternate reality that disorients the victims by distorting their own identities. This level of manipulation requires deep understanding of human behavior and mental structure. Though it is non-canon, the technique fits within Obito's established skill set. He is already capable of large-scale illusions through the Eye of the Moon plan. He also shows advanced use of Sharingan abilities during battles with Konan and Naruto. The movie-exclusive technique expands the narrative potential of his powers and reinforces the idea that Genjutsu was one of his underused strengths. Childhood and dream. Obito's early years are marked by social isolation. Orphaned and raised by his grandmother, he lacked the traditional support system most Konoha children had. His behavior during missions, being late, getting distracted, seeking attention, was often dismissed as immature. However, this pattern suggests a consistent search for validation in a world that largely ignored him. Obito's dream of becoming Hokage was not based on political ambition. It was rooted in the desire to be acknowledged. His rivalry with Kakashi, a prodigy celebrated from a young age, only widened the emotional gap. Obito's determination to outshine Kakashi was more about self-worth than competition. This context gives weight to his ambitions. They were not unrealistic. They were compensatory responses to years of neglect. It frames his descent into villainy not as a spontaneous shift, but as the result of long-term emotional neglect followed by strategic exploitation. His early desire to be Hokage becomes a thematic mirror to Naruto's path, showing how two similar beginnings can lead to opposite outcomes depending on the influences that follow. Rivalry and bond. Kakashi Hatake is one of the few non-Uchiha to successfully wield the Mangekyo Sharingan. This eye, gifted to him by Obito, retained its original chakra signature. Normally, the activation of Mangekyo requires direct connection to an Uchiha's brain, where the chakra circulatory system is specifically adapted for dojutsu. Kakashi's use of Kamui violates that expectation. The anomaly can be explained through residual chakra. Because Obito's chakra was embedded in the eye at the time of transfer, it continued to respond as if it were still part of an Uchiha host. This allows Kakashi to use Kamui, though at a significantly higher chakra cost. The strain on his body is noticeable, limiting his usage and forcing strategic conservation. Obito's relationship with Kakashi was shaped by rivalry, but anchored by deeper loyalty. From their time on Team Minato, Obito viewed Kakashi as both a competitor and a benchmark. Kakashi's early promotion to Jonin and reputation as a genius fueled Obito's determination to improve. This dynamic, built on perceived imbalance, pushed Obito to train harder despite his natural shortcomings. Their rivalry peaked during the Canopy Bridge mission. In that critical moment, Obito prioritized teamwork over personal pride. When Kakashi was injured and trapped, Obito acted without hesitation. The rescue cost him his life, or so it seemed. Before being crushed by the cave-in, he entrusted his left Sharingan to Kakashi. This gift became the foundation of Kakashi's identity as the copy ninja, shaping both of their legacies. Obito returned from the shadows and ultimately chose to support Kakashi in battle once more. In the Fourth Shinobi World War, from Beyond Death, Obito gave Kakashi access to both Mangekyo Sharingan. This allowed Kakashi to summon a perfect Susanoo, a technique normally reserved for elite Uchiha. The gesture was more than practical. It reaffirmed the enduring link between them. What began as rivalry matured into mutual respect, formed through conflict, sacrifice, and time. Fall into darkness. Obito's love for Rin Nohara is one of the emotional triggers behind his transformation. This love, while unreciprocated romantically, was genuine and pure. Rin represented everything Obito believed in: connection, purpose, and hope. Her presence kept his dream of becoming Hokage alive. But that stability collapsed during the Third Shinobi World War. In a manipulated sequence of events, Madara orchestrated Rin's death. She was made into a Jinchuriki, meant to unleash the Three Tails inside Konoha. Kakashi, unaware of the full context, was forced to kill her. Obito witnessed the act from afar, arriving just seconds too late. The trauma of seeing Rin die at Kakashi's hand, combined with his inability to stop it, shattered his moral framework. Reconstruction and body enhancement. After his near-death experience during the cave collapse, Obito was saved by White Zetsu under Madara's command. His right side was severely damaged, and without intervention, he would have died. Madara implanted him with synthetic tissue made from Hashirama's cells, creating a biomechanical hybrid body. This artificial repair allowed Obito not only to survive, but also to gain access to new powers. Hashirama cells granted him enhanced physical recovery and access to wood release. While he did not use wood style extensively in combat, its regenerative properties stabilized his body, making it resistant to damage and chakra strain. More importantly, it allowed his Sharingan to function at maximum capacity without degradation. The process transformed Obito into something beyond human. With one side of his body composed of white Zetsu material and Senju DNA, he became a vessel engineered to carry out Madara's long-term plan.
Manipulation. Operating under the alias of Tobi and later posing as Madara Uchiha, Obito gradually took control of the Akatsuki. The organization, originally formed by Yahiko to promote peace, was hijacked and repurposed. Obito aligned himself with Nagato and convinced him to adopt a more aggressive strategy. With minimal direct intervention, he turned the group into a mercenary force capable of destabilizing entire nations. Obito's influence extended beyond Akatsuki. Using his Sharingan, he placed the fourth Mizukage, Yagura, under Genjutsu. This manipulation transformed the Hidden Mist into the Bloody Mist, a regime known for its brutal graduation exams and internal oppression. By turning a Kage into a puppet, Obito gained control over a major village without a single battle. The chaos produced by this leadership destabilization allowed Akatsuki to operate freely and unchallenged across multiple territories. Black Zetsu's betrayal. Obito's control unraveled when Black Zetsu revealed its true allegiance. Although Obito believed he was using Zetsu as a subordinate, the truth was reversed. Black Zetsu had been manipulating him for decades, following Kaguya Otsutsuki's will. Its goal was never to aid Obito or even Madara, but to orchestrate Kaguya's resurrection. At a critical moment, Black Zetsu betrayed Obito by taking control of his body and using it to transfer the Rinnegan to Madara. After Madara's revival, the same tactic was used to forcefully trigger Kaguya's return. Obito lost his Rinnegan and was left physically weakened and politically irrelevant. Reunion with Rin. After death, Obito reunites with Rin in a liminal realm resembling the afterlife. He appears as his teenage self, a visual reset that symbolizes purification. In this form, he is no longer masked, enhanced, or weaponized. His identity is returned to its original state, unburdened by ideology or war. This reunion closes the emotional arc that began with Rin's death. Their meeting is not a romantic resolution, but a narrative conclusion. Rin represents the emotional core that guided and corrupted Obito. Her presence at the end validates his return to his original values. Thanks for watching till the end. See ya.